to pass it through to be voted on the floor of the legislature in California by substituting a couple of members on the committee and also refusing to allow many parents who were up there in Sacramento protesting this whole thing to speak publicly in the second hearing that they held, which was closed door. And they voted to move the bill out onto the floor where it looks like it's going to pass. And, of course, Jerry Brown, the governor, will sign it. So that is the shutdown in California. That's medical police state in California. This is happening all over the world. And
Yes.
it's coordinated.
Yes.
It's timed. This is not just an accident that all of this is happening at once. And that in many states in America, we're now seeing these bills being presented to knock out all loopholes that would allow people not to get vaccinated. They started with this absurd outbreak of measles from Disneyland, which really was just, a fairy tale from a fairy tale place.
Yes.
The whole country's in danger now because there's a few cases of measles, and they tried to claim that all these kids who were getting measles were unvaccinated without any evidence presented. And all of a sudden, across the country, on news shows and talk shows and so forth, the experts began showing up and saying, okay, this is it. We have to vaccinate everybody. That's the consensus. Everybody agrees. They were just manufacturing the consensus. And a full-bore attack worldwide was then launched in a very coordinated way. So they were waiting for the right moment, and they chose it, and that's what they're doing now.
And I think it's very important when we look at the shenanigans that were played in the California Senate to understand that people who don't respect you enough as a human being, who don't respect the fundamental principles of liberty, of informed consent, of course they're not going to respect the due process of law. They're not going to have a fair and honest vote and a hearing. They're going to play every kind of game that they can. And we need to understand this isn't just a California problem. This isn't just an American problem. As you pointed out with your article talking about what's going on in Australia and New Zealand and everywhere else, this is a global issue. This is something that they're making this move all at once across the globe to try to force people to take vaccines. Clearly in the United States, we can see that there's a huge financial incentive for the pharmaceutical companies to move things to vaccines. They announced a year or two ago they were going to stop working on antibiotics and they were going to put all their research on the vaccines. Well, we understand that they don't have any product liability in America because we have this thing called the vaccine court. That and the coercion ought to tell people something is up with all of this. But the other thing I'm worried about, John, is this massive effort in terms of vaccines, talking about how they're going to create vaccines with genetic modification. When you look at that and the vaccines that they're producing for pretty much every kind of disease, whether it's something like HPV or whether it's Ebola, whatever, they're coming up with genetically engineered vaccines. And when you combine that with the fact that we would be forced to take them, that is a very concerning scenario, especially when you look at the medical research that's being done by Tulane and others with the gain-of-function experiments where they bring in deadly bacteria that are not indigenous to the area, and then they try to make them more resistant to drugs, try to make them more easily transmittable, and then work on a vaccine at the same time.
You bet. The genetically modified vaccines are, this is just a wild roulette game because many of these vaccines are being engineered. The genetic components that they're inserting have to be carried into the body. And they've been working, how do we get these into the body? How do we get these in? And so many of the researchers have settled on this method of using a virus as the carrier for the genetic components. And, of course, they claim that this is harmless and so forth. But when you inject somebody and bypass many portals of the immune system with a virus, this is a danger sign of enormous size because that virus can go anywhere, do anything, be transmitted from person to person. All sorts of things can happen. Although they say nothing to worry about, they've always been saying that. And the facts show that these vaccines, just the conventional vaccines, are highly dangerous.
Absolutely. We're got to go to a break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about some of these gain-of-function experiments, what happened with Tulane University at the Primate Center, as well as what you covered in Sierra Leone at the beginning of the Ebola outbreak. Stay with us. We're going to be right back with John Rappaport.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Blockit Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockitPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockitPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockitPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
We've all heard the news stories. Another shooting, and they're getting worse. That's why Infidel Body Armor introduces Infidel Fridays, exclusive 24-hour insider deals to save you money and possibly save your life. Make it a favorite when you log on to InfidelBodyArmor.com. Then be sure to visit each and every Infidel Friday to get special insider pricing, but for 24 hours only. That's InfidelBodyArmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
Hi, I'm Alex Jones. When I got on air 20 years ago, I weighed 180 pounds. I lift weights 5 days a week. I could swim 2-3 miles. Then I discovered the New World Order, the globalists, their agenda. I started an Access television show. I was so dedicated to my work and hanging around with radio guys that I began drinking. I began smoking cigars and then even cigarettes. I transformed from looking like a white Bruce Lee to looking like a Jabba the Hutt. So I began a journey 5 years ago to shed the almost 100 pounds. I started taking Super Male Vitality and saw dramatic results in just a few weeks. When I added to the mix the key products developed by Dr. Grube for InfoWarsLife.com, the results were incredible. Take the InfoWarsLife.com challenge today at InfoWarsLife.com or give our crew a call. They can answer all your questions or tell you about any of the specials at 888-253-3139.
Gold isn't for you? Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources, one of the world's premier gold and precious metal investing firms. I get it. You wouldn't buy gold if you believed that the government is doing a great job, that the Fed will stop handing out trillions of dollars like bailout candy, that Social Security would be there for you. That's not what's happening. You might even pass on gold if the stimulus package wouldn't fuel inflation, or that the dollar wouldn't lose value, or that your retirement would be secure. If all looks rosy to you, then now is not the time to buy gold. For the realists, there have never been more sobering reasons to diversify with gold. Since 2001, the U.S. dollar index has tanked 30% while gold has risen 300%. Right now, savvy investors are adding gold to their portfolios. You should too. Find out what they know. Call us and I'll send you 10 reasons why gold will do very well, free. 800-686-2237. 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
There are hundreds of silver products on the market today, but there's nothing like the astonishing health benefits of the multi-patented One Silver Solution. Boost your immune system at a great price with our Silver Solution Liquid, starting at $12.95 a bottle. Now available in regular and extra strength. That's half the price of the leading competitors. Call 844-USILVER for your free catalog, or go to OneSilverSolution.com. OneSilverSolution.com. There is only one Silver Solution.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host. And joining us now is John Rappaport for one more segment. He is with NoMoreFakeNews.com. That's where you can find his comments. We were just talking about the efforts to coerce us, to take away our consent, to not let us be informed about what is going on in our food, what is being done to us with medication. And of course, when the Ebola outbreak came out, I thought it was very interesting. John Rappaport pointed out that Tulane University was doing experiments about the time this broke out in Sierra Leone with a lab there. The Sierra Leone government told them to get out. They were concerned that perhaps that was the source of this outbreak, which by its qualitative nature is far, far worse by many orders of magnitude of any Ebola outbreak that has happened before. They were concerned that perhaps they had created some kind of a new dangerous strain, that maybe it had gotten out deliberately or even accidentally, and everybody poo-pooed that and laughed at that, and yet we have now seen that is precisely what happened with the same people, with Tulane in Louisiana. They brought in a bacteria, it's Burkholderia pseudomallei. They brought it into the United States. It's not indigenous to the area. It's part of these gain-of-function experiments where they bring in deadly bacteria. They try to make them more dangerous, harder to kill, easier to spread, at the same time working on a vaccine. Doesn't that raise some red flags? And what happened in Louisiana was that Burkholderia pseudomallei got out of the primate lab, got out of a biosafety lab, level 3 lab, and got into the primate center, into a 500-acre facility. They've had the USDA, the FDA down there trying to find out how this got out. They've had one person contract the disease herself. Of course, they said, well, I'm sure that was already there. I'm sure she didn't get that here, even to the absurd point of saying that if you find it anywhere in the soil, I'm sure it was already here, whereas you've got the CDC scientists saying this has never been indigenous to the United States. John, your comments on out-of-control biotech. Why do we have the government and pharmaceutical companies trying to make things more dangerous?
You know, there's a tremendous crossover between so-called disease research and biological warfare research.
Yes.
It's a cover story. They need to have a way of saying, well, we're not really doing research on biowarfare, offensive warfare, because we've already signed a treaty long ago forbidding us and many other countries from doing that. But we are, of course, you know, doing defensive research and pharmaceutical and disease research because we want to help people and cure them and so forth. And this is what they always say. As far back as 1987, when I was writing my first book, AIDS, Inc., I came across a great deal of information about the lack of safety in the so-called, level 3, 4, 5, 6 viral labs where they do all kinds of sophisticated research and combining germs and creating new germs and synthesizing this and that. Escape of microorganisms happens all the time. The transmission of these microorganisms happens all the time because of the human factor, regardless of whatever they say. So this is an entire apparatus and industry, in the United States and in other countries, of this kind of research at these labs. And they have problems all the time that do not reach the press. It happens. And it's a very dangerous thing. So when they try to say, well, we know exactly what we're doing, we're creating a great vaccine that's going to help everybody, watch out. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's very interesting because when this happened in Louisiana, there was really only one reporter covering this very closely, and that was a USA Today reporter who basically was on top of this story as it was developing. And, of course, she has reported in the past on a lot of accidents that have happened at these so-called secure biosafety labs. Even at the CDC itself, they've had a lot of accidents there. I guess that's the thing that really concerns me, and it concerns a lot of other people, yet nothing is being done about it, John. We just had the Congress last fall say they wanted to have a moratorium, a voluntary moratorium on these experiments. Well, that didn't go too far because these people are making too much money out of it. It's one more head of the Hydra, one more aspect of the military-industrial complex, as you pointed out, and that in and of itself ought to concern us. But again, going back to the whole idea that we have absolutely no choice in the medicine that we get, we're not allowed to know what's in the food that we eat. They're hiding everything from us and holding a gun to our head in every single aspect of this.
It's a war of our freedom versus their version of slavery.
Yes.
People have to understand that. This is the war that we're in.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us. John Rappaport, NoMoreFakeNews.com. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We're on the